this lesson, we're going to be learning a lick, David Gilmour style lick. And this is in the style of, or kind of from, roughly from, the song Have a Cigar. So what I want to show you, most importantly about, I think, this lesson, is not only the the lick itself, is pretty cool, but studying how he plays in relationship to the chord progression. David Gilmour is a great player. He's a very melodic, I think, player. So that's what I want to kind of get across in this lesson. Excuse me. So it would be important for us to learn the progression too. So we're going to do that first. So the riff, it's based in E minor. The key is E minor. Okay. So the riff that is implies the E minor chord is. So you kind of play like bar the second fret, A and D string. So you're playing like basically an E5 or an E power chord. You play open E, then these two together, A and D together, then back to open E, 3 slight quarter bend, back to the 2. So it's one more time. Then you hit that again, then you hit it one more time. So it's so that last part is then open D back to G. So that's the riff. It's a 2-bar riff. Okay, so you're playing that, and then the chord progression goes to C for 3 bars. Just any way you want to play a C chord. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then D for a bar. Then we have this riff. And that takes you back to E, which is would be the downbeat, and that riff would start again. Okay, so it's C for 3 bars. 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. D, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so we have E minor, it goes to C, D. These are all chords in the key of E minor. Okay, that's important to remember because when we get to the lick itself, I'll show you how he plays with that. So now the lick, the lead part. So that's the lick we're going to be studying. If you're playing a Strat, I think when he plays lead, it sounds better on the neck pickup. Okay? Okay, so that's the lick. So mainly he's playing around E pentatonic minor over that E minor chord. Right? So, but he's doing this combination of double stops and dead notes. Okay, and I've kind of simplified this because it's not exactly that. It's a little more random in the actual lick, but this sounds just as good. So it's a double stop on the 12th fret of the G and B string. So you're going to hit that first, and if you get the high E string too, that's no problem because we're borrowing this. Okay, so it's, and you're just keeping your hand going up and down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. So it's down, up, down, that's a dead note. So I'm muting the strings with these fingers, just laying them lightly on the strings. So then I'm sliding up to the 14th fret. Then I'm sliding back. And ending with that double one. So it's okay, one more time. One more time slow. Okay, then we come in, going into the C. We're not on the C yet, but he plays this lick, this common, pentatonic minor lick, bending the 14th, full bend, 12, 12, back to 12. And then he goes 14 bend, 14 no bend, 12 bend, and he holds that one. And then when we get to the C, he goes to a regular 12 without the bend. So okay, so part of his style is these kind of longer bends, and whenever you can get some vibrato in there, that sounds good too. Okay, and vibrato within bends if there's long enough bends. That one's kind of hard, but overall, stylistically, a lot of vibrato. Okay, so now we're on the C. Then we have 11, 12. So now, and then he goes, so it's 11, 12, vibrato there. Then he goes 10 on the D string, 11, half bend, and release. Okay, that's all over the C. Okay, so far over the E minor, the riff, it's basically E pentatonic minor stuff. You know, the double stop and the dead note thing, which is really cool rhythmic thing. That slide's real cool. That's kind of more technically this note. Part of that slide is like a Dorian thing, but still minor-y sounding. And then we have all pentatonic minor. Now, when we get to this note on the C, that's G, and here's where now the chords have changed, and he's targeting notes within that chord to make it sound melodic. So G, if you take a C chord, is the fifth interval, or the fifth of C. So C is made of major chords, root, third, fifth. G is the fifth of C. So if you played a C major scale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you'll find that's G, and that's the octave of G there. Okay? Then when he goes, he goes 11, 12. So you could look at this two ways. That note is part of a regular E minor scale. Okay, not so much the pentatonic minor, But it also is if you relate the scale to the C chord, it's part of the C Lydian mode. That note is that the raised fourth of Lydian. The Lydian mode is a major scale with a raised fourth, and that's a majory sounding mode. I don't really actually run across it a lot. That's why I like this lick. It's pretty cool how that fits, and it makes it kind of that, I don't know how to describe it, like that eerie kind of sound with that note. I think it's definitely on purpose that he picked that note. So now we're on the C chord, and then he goes. Now when he plays the 10 there, that's just C, that's the root note of the chord. Now he's going from the raised fourth to the fifth with that little half bend back to the C. So he's playing around with the raised fourth of the Lydian mode, the C Lydian mode, which also is relative to the E minor scale. So all those notes, they're shared by both those modes. And then the fifth of the C chord, okay? So that's how you really start to get melodic. Okay, then we go to the D. He's just playing a D note. He's hammering from 10 to 12 on the D string. That's over the C. Then over the riff. Now that riff goes into 5/4 time. There's one extra beat there. He just goes back to the pentatonic minor thing, but he kind of follows it rhythmically. And he just does a bend on the 15th fret B string, release, same thing, 14th fret G string, it's bend, release, pull off to 12. Then he does a quicker bend, release, pull off to 12. And lands on the E, the 14th fret of the D string, when we're back to the riff. Okay? So, some cool technique-y stuff in this one with the kind of funky lick, and then a nice lick to study for melodic purposes, to see how it fits with the chord progression. So, hope you enjoyed this one. That's a David Gilmour style lick of the week.